All right, good morning, y'all. It's like 4 a.m. here. And so like the title says, I'm going to do a video about what I got wrong about the new Instax Wide EVO, and of course, some of the things I got right as well. So before I dive into that, if you just want to go straight to, that part of the video, I'll put a timestamp on the screen below. But a little backstory. So I fell asleep early and woke up at like 3 a.m. So of course I hop on YouTube, and then I'm scrolling through YouTube and checking on my video I did about the Instax Wide EVO from yesterday, and I start seeing a bunch of other videos pop up. So I'm like, okay, cool. So Fujifilm has started releasing like their promo material for the Instax Wide EVO. And so I ended up watching Adorama's video and kind of do a deep dive into like some of the features and stuff. And so I just want to go over that video with you all. Like I said, just talk about what I got right, what I got wrong. I'm trying to get this video out before I go to class a little bit later today, so this probably won't be as polished as my other videos. It'll probably be a lot of rambling. I'm gonna apologize now, but yeah, let's hop into it.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Seth Miranda here for Adorama TV, and I've got a very fun release for you today. And I'm actually like a personal fan of this because Fujifilm has just added to the Instax family. We had the Instax Mini Evo. Well, now we've got the Instax Wide.
So here it's nice to be able to see kind of what the EVO actually looks like in someone's hands. So in the Best Buy promo material, it does show someone holding it, but shows them holding it from the backside. So here I like that you can see like, okay, here is a shutter and like how that looks and just how it looks in someone else's hands.
Oh, yeah. So before this, now this. What's so great about this? A lot. It's a very tactile camera. It's very fun, and there's a lot to actually talk about here. So let's go through the camera from front to back. You've got a 16mm lens on here with a selfie mirror, and you've got your LED flash.
All right, so first thing I was wrong about, this metallic looking circle. So in my previous video, which I'll link in the description below, go check it out, but don't do that right now. Or you can, whichever. But I thought this might have been a light meter just because it doesn't look that reflective. I did also say that it could be a selfie, sorry, not a light mirror, a light meter. I did say this could also be a selfie mirror, so I was kind of half right, half wrong. But yeah, this is the selfie mirror. It doesn't look that reflective. Like I said, maybe in person you can see yourself better. But yeah, so this right here is the selfie mirror.
Great, but look at how nice and sleek and streamlined this is. In fact, the colorway and the texture on it is similar, if not the same, as the GFX 102, which is an awesome camera in its own right. You can check out the video for that with the link down below. But when I say this is tactile, I mean it. In the front, you've got a 16mm lens, but you've also got this switch for wide angle and keeping it normal. What does that do? It gives you a crop. So it's a digital zoom, but you've got enough resolution here because this is 16 megapixels on a 1/3 inch sensor.
Okay, so here he's talking about that wide angle toggle, which I mentioned in my previous video. And I can't remember now that I'm thinking about it. If I said, I think I was unclear about whether the wide angle would make the screen, like the frame, even larger than the 16mm or not. So from what I can understand from what he's saying, the 16mm is the wide angle, and then if you toggle off that, then it now becomes just regular wide. So I'm not sure what regular wide is. Maybe I can find it online. But yeah, that's what he means, or that's what the wide angle toggle is for.
And when you use internal memory, you have 5 megapixels. So when you want to get that full 60 megapixels, just know you've got to get a micro SD card for this, which...
Okay, interesting. So here he's talking about the micro SD and like the 16 megapixels that are mentioned in the promo material. So based on my understanding, he's saying that if you don't have an SD card, the highest resolution that you can get with the Wide EVO is 5 megapixels. 5 megapixels. But if you use a memory card, you can get up to 16 megapixels. So I'm very curious as to how different those two look as far as, I mean, I know the resolution should be different, but I'm very interested to see like in practice how that actually looks.
Isn't that crazy? Because on a 64 gig card, you're getting like 17,000 images. I'm not kidding here. It's 280 images for every gig on that card.
So here he mentioned a 64 gigabyte SD card. So I'm curious, is that the highest amount that this camera can hold, or can it go even higher? I think with my Mini Evo, I think they say 64 is the highest you can go. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, I'm curious if 64, if that is the highest you can go for the Wide EVO.
So you've got a lot of room and you can just get a memory card, stick it in there, forget about it, and you're good to go basically. But what's so great about the Evo is you're able to shoot to a card and
Pause. So let's go back a little bit. And look at this again. Here, so I talk about the print crank, but I kind of made a prediction, or I don't know, a remark, and I was like, it would be kind of crazy if you have to like keep cranking in order to print your photo. And so I was like, well, of course not. It's probably just like one crank and then it prints. Well, it looks like I'm wrong. It looks like you have to crank it a few times before the photo will actually print. And I think later on in this video, you can see like him cranking again, and you can see like the photo actually printing. So let's look at that again when it comes up.
shoot to a card and then decide if you want to print it. So you're not going through film if you don't want to. If you're a super purist, I totally get where you're like, no, this is the only photo that ever existed and I shot it. You still have those Instax cameras out there, but now you just have this as an option in the lineup. Also, what's very cool about this is on either side by your thumbs are these dials for changing it creatively, right? So on my right thumb, I've got a dial for film style. It's kind of like your color grade settings, you know, warm, sepia, vivid, all those, and you have 10 settings for that. On my left thumb, I've got lens styles, and I'm talking like flex.
Okay, so here's one thing I was wrong about. So in my initial video, I thought that one of the dials would be like for the film filters, and so I was right about that. But then I thought the other side would be the adjustment dial, but apparently I was wrong. So each side, one is for the lens filters and one is for the film filters. So that's interesting. Looking at the camera, I don't see anything that clearly differentiates between the two. Like, you just have to remember the right side has, I think you said, the film filter, and the left side has the lens filter.
Flare options and light leaks and things like that. So you can dial between those two and get whatever combination you want. And then up top, we've got this button, which gives you another set of creative options, which is kind of basically a frame. So you can do like.
Okay, so here's another thing I was wrong about, kind of. So I initially thought, yes, that was a button up top. Let's see if I can go back so you guys can see it. So yes, I was right in the sense I initially thought this was a button. Some people thought it was a charging port, but no, it's definitely a button. But I was wrong about what the button does. So I thought maybe it was the selfie timer button or like another shutter button. But no, this appears to be the film effects button. Or not film effects, but like film enhancements or whatever it was called. So in my previous video, I talk about how in like the features section on the Best Buy website, they talk about there are 5 like film enhancements. And so this button here is, I guess, how you implement those. So yeah, I was kind of right, kind of wrong, but yeah, so this is how you add the film enhancements, and I'll put on the screen what it's actually called, but this is how you implement those onto your photos.
Basically a frame, so you can do like film sprockets, or you can do a contact sheet look, and that can just stay stable while you're flying through with your thumb, making whatever combinations you want. But then you can dial it in even more. Literally, the lens has, oh listen, oh the tactile. That lets you actually set the intensity of the lens effect.
All right, excuse me. So here again, I was wrong on what the lens does. So on the Mini Evo, when you twist the lens, that's how you change your lens effects. But on the Wide Evo, when you twist the lens, you affect the intensity of your filters. So I'm assuming, like, you know, you change the lens filter and then you change the actual intensity of that filter with twisting of the lens, and then when you do your film effects, you do the same thing. So it's interesting that they make the lens the intensity adjuster, and I guess it kind of makes sense design wise, because that way you can just very clearly have, you know, your lens effects and your film effects on the left and right side, and then just use the lens to do the adjustment of the intensity. But I kind of like the idea that the lens effects would be affected by the lens, you know, by twisting the lens. But yeah, so like I said, the left and right dials at the, you know, top sides of the camera are for the lens and film effects, and then use the lens dial to affect the intensity of those effects.
Okay. So a lot of things I was trying out here were like flares. Now let's say I want that flare to be a different diagonal or different direction. I just kept on spinning it till in real time I'm seeing it happen. And when I'm happy with it, I keep it, I shoot it, and if I want it, I just crank this dial and I print it. So from front to back.
So let's just go back real quick. Oh, maybe not enough. So you can clearly see right here, that is the print crank that I was talking about.
Tile, and I print it. So from front to back, like I said, it's very, very tactile. And no, there's no viewfinder, but you're seeing everything through the screen on the back. And you do have some functionality after the fact. So if you shot something, you can brighten or darken it and things like that. But there's nothing too crazy in the post menu.
So interesting. Off the top of my head, I can't remember if you can do like editing, post editing, post processing. Jeez, I can't remember if you do post processing with the Mini Evo. But it appears that with the Wide Evo, you can do a bit of post processing. So that's kind of nice. So if you take a photo and you realize, hey, I wish it was a little bit brighter, you can do that after you take the photo. So that's kind of cool and a neat thing about having like a digital instant camera.
However, there is a firmware menu in here, so and a USB-C port.
Okay, so here's one thing I was right about. So this is on the side with the on and off toggle. And so I did say in my video that I figured that micro SD card slot was in here and then maybe in the charger port. So yep, here you can see the charger port and then here you can see the micro SD slot.
So we might actually see something going forward. Keep an eye on it. If you do end up going into this camera, you might see some features getting into it. I don't know, but it is clearly in the camera, so I want you guys to know about that. But speaking about the USB-C, internal battery, right? It takes about 2 to 3 hours to charge, which is cool. But let's.
All right, so here's one thing I was wrong about. So this does have a internal battery as well. And so the reason I initially thought that it had an external battery, kind of like the Instax Mini 99 has like a battery, like its own separate battery. And so I thought maybe because the Best Buy website said the battery was a battery pack, that it had some way of having like, a replaceable rechargeable battery. But nope, it looks like internal rechargeable battery, just like with the Mini Evo.
But speaking about the USB-C, internal battery, right? It takes about 2 to 3 hours to charge, which is cool. But let's say there's something going on, you can still get to the battery from this door over here, a screwdriver, you can actually.
Okay, here we finally get the first look at the bottom of the camera. So I was right, there is a tripod mount, which makes sense. I don't see why they wouldn't have a tripod mount for this, especially since they have tripod mounts for their other cameras and their Mini Evo. So yep, tripod mount right there is confirmed. And here,
Actually still access the battery. So one.
Yeah, so go back a little bit. Oh, I lost it.
There's something going on, you can still get to the battery from this door over here.
So apparently you can still access the battery by taking off the screw and accessing it there. So I wonder, does that mean, is the battery technically replaceable? Like, can I replace the battery, or is like, can I just see it? So I'm very curious to see what the inside of this looks like. And I'll definitely take it off, or I'll take off like the battery door and show you guys. Just to see if this battery is replaceable, and then I'll probably like go online and see if I can find a replacement battery for it. I'm assuming if it is replaceable, that hopefully Fujifilm will offer, a replacement battery that you can buy, or at least this is something that like a third party can create.
Screwdriver, you can actually still access the battery. So one of my concerns with internal battery on a lot of products are what happens if the battery goes, or if I need to change it out, or maybe recycle it if I'm moving on from a few years from now. You can actually get to the battery, which I think is very, very cool by Fujifilm to do that. So overall, you've got this really nice, slim, easy to carry around camera that's giving you basically the wide printer with a camera built into it, and then all these creative options. And then you can actually pair this with an app.
All right, so in my video, I point out a photo kind of like this, where it has this sprocket look, and I said, well, maybe that's potentially a new filter or one of the 5 film enhancements. And so it looks like I was right. This is one of the 5 different types of film enhancements. I'm curious if these photos right here are all examples of him using those like film enhancements. So probably it would make sense. But yeah, so I was at least right on that part.
App and save whatever creative options you came up with. And remember, you just look at that image that you liked from that part of that time to go, how can I mimic that? Well, it'll save those settings for you when you get those images into the app. So then you can go and just go right back to that creative style that you.
Okay, nice. So in this video, he talks about the app. And so in my previous video, I talked about the app as well, just vaguely in the sense that there's another app. I have a little complaint about that, but it's fine. But it's interesting that for this app, it saves the settings of your photo so that you can go back and look at it if you're kind of in similar settings and want to create or recreate that same look for an image. You can kind of pull up those settings and look at it in the app. So I think that's kind of cool.
The color grade with the film selection and the lens selection, and also all the other things I told you about. Now, let's say you grab this thing and you want to go shoot, or you hand it to a friend and they're not too psyched on the way you put that creative setting on. There's a button right by the on-off switch. That's kind of my get out of jail free card.
Interesting. So I don't know if he's gonna do. I can't remember if he's gonna do like a closer look of that button, but I remember seeing that button on one of the photos from the Best Buy website, and I didn't really mention in my video because I didn't know if it was like an actual button or just like some type of protrusion, aesthetic for the camera. But it looks like it's an actual button that you can use to reset the settings of your photo. So if you do, some creative edits on your photo, and like you said, your friend doesn't like it, or you just want to have like a normal version of that photo, you can hit that button and it resets to like default settings. So that's actually really cool because I've definitely taken some photos on my Mini Evo that I liked like creatively, but I would like to also have a copy of it just as like the regular photo. So I do like that addition to this camera.
It just resets it, goes straight to clean. So if all else fails and you need something shot really quickly, you can just be rest assured that if you're not into the creative style of it, you can just hit that button and you start to zero. Very, very cool, right? And it's just like,
all right, so here we are with him cranking that print crank several times. I'm gonna go back a little bit and see how many total cranks he does.
that button and you start to zero. Very, very cool, right?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7. So it looks like he has a crank, the print crank, like 7 times, which is not horrible, but that's definitely more than I was expecting. And that's just what I saw. Like, I don't know if he cranked some more before he started recording this section. But yeah, he has to crank it like 7 times before the photo will start printing. So that's, I don't know how I feel about that. What do you guys think? Like I said, it's not a crazy amount of cranks. It's not like he has to crank the entire time, but it's definitely more than like 1 crank. It's definitely more than I thought it would be.
Of that image and be able to go to someone and give them not just what they assume would be the shot out of a camera like this, but your style of that shot. And there, like I said before, there's a flash on the front. You do actually have some settings on that. No, you don't have rear sync or anything like that, but you do have the ability to always force the flash to fire no matter what the situation is, or always keep it off no matter what the situation is. So
okay, so I was right here about the flash as well. So on the Best Buy promotional information features or whatever, it does mention automatic flash, but it didn't say anything about being able to turn the flash on and off. But I did think that the flash would be able to be turned on and off because that just makes sense. Like, I don't know why you would have a digital camera or a camera that's expensive that you couldn't turn on and off with a flash, or you couldn't turn the flash on and off. So yep, makes sense. Flash, you do have the ability to turn on and off.
you want that really underexposed look or that really hardcore filled in flash look, you can still do that, which is nice to see here on this camera. And usually with these cameras, you just kind of like pick it up and take a shot and whatever happens, happens. But you actually have some.
All right, just want to go back a little bit. Oh, shoot. Okay, so here you can see him using the shutter lever, using the shutter contraption right here. So I was right about this being the shutter lever. Yeah, you just press it down and then I guess you use the print crank and then you have your photo. But yeah, just wanted to share that there.
A shot and whatever happens, happens. But you actually have some intelligence inside this thing. Yeah, it has face detection. Wait, what? I know. Think about it. If you wanted to get a little more elevated than just like a soft look or whatever exposure.
Nice. So this camera has face detection, which I don't think the Mini Evo does. Like, I know the Mini Evo autofocuses and you see like the green box pop up, but I don't think it like detects a face. So I'm very curious as to how accurate this face detection is and like how well it works. So I definitely want to try this in some different environments, like really bright lighting, potentially low lighting, just to see how good this face detection does.
extras, you can actually get a more dialed in, cleaner image if you know what you're looking for. And if you're shooting in a scene that has multiple people, you want that person, it'll end up focusing on that person that's detecting. More than that, it's also combining like a spot metering. So it's going to prioritize the exposure on that person's face to make sure.
Okay, and so it looks like the face detection actually can be useful because it does have spot metering, so it makes sure that the person you're focusing on is, well exposed as best as it can. So that's interesting. I do want to go back and look at this cranking again and see how many cranks he does for this one and see if it's close to the 7 as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. So it looks like between 6 and 7 cranks for the photo to print. You'll see as he's cranking, like a little thinking icon pops up, and then when it finishes, I guess you can stop and the image will start printing. So yeah, it looks like you're gonna have to do 6 or 7 cranks in order to get your photos to print.
Face to make sure they're the main focus of that image and more than just the focus itself, right? So that's very, very cool to see. And it's just nice to see these elevated options. If you want them, they're in there. And this is that camera that lets you have all the options you want to make it the shot you want instead of whatever this camera gives me, it's gonna give me. It's even got a quarter 20 on the bottom, so you can tripod this thing or grip it how you want, because you can take out the app and actually remote trigger this thing.
So yeah, like I said, tripod mount. Tripod mount. So that's to be expected. But he is talking about remote triggering. Hold on, let's go back.
Take out the app and actually remote trigger this thing, so you can put it out, jump in there, take some shots. Or if you're someone that just constantly takes selfie images, you don't just got to long arm it. You have that option with an actual remote from your phone, which is pretty cool, right?
Okay, so just like with the mini. Okay, sorry. Just like with the mini Evo, you have the option to remote trigger this camera, which is good. It makes sense. With it being a digital camera and you having an app, I like the idea that you can use remote trigger, like you said, so you don't have to like long arm if you want to do a selfie, or if you're trying to get a group shot. You can set up on a tripod or a flat surface, set the remote trigger, trigger, take the photo, and you're good to go.
Up top with those creative framing choices I told you about, it actually lights up to let you know when they're in play, so you don't have to.
Okay, so I do like the fact that the film effects, whatever frame effects, does that button lights up so that you know that you have an effect in place. That's just nice and convenient. So when you're shooting, you can look down real quick and see whether or not you have a frame effect in place.
Once you see that orange light is on, that means you selected something for that creative option of maybe a contact sheet or seeing the film sprockets. One thing I appreciate about this camera is it's not like other Instax cameras where you pick it up and whatever that film's white balance is, that's what you're going to, which is cool, right? That's a part of it. But let's say I'm in like fluorescent light and that's soupy and green and not that great, and I don't want to use.
So let's go back. I don't know if you guys noticed. Hold on. So here, the camera finds the face on his shirt. So it looks like this face detection actually isn't too bad. It at least has the ability to find some faces. But yeah, it found a face on his shirt and you can see the green box around it. So this face detection might be smarter than I thought it would be for like a digital instant camera.
Well, let's say I'm in like fluorescent light and that's soupy and green and not that great, and I don't want to use the strobe. You can set this to auto white balance or a preset for the condition you're in and then neutralize it, which is
Okay, so that's nice. You have the ability, like I said, to either do auto white balance and the camera will just decide what the white balance should be, or if you know you're going into a specific situation, you can change the auto balance. You can change the white balance beforehand so that your camera is ready to go. So I definitely like the fact that this camera seems to have not like a whole lot of options for customization, but definitely have some options that allows you to customize how your image is going to look.
it's a nice way to go about it. So yeah, you still have that option of whatever the film you're using is what it's going to be if you're that romantic, or you can say I'm going to elevate it and go the other way and clean it up if I want to. So you have both options, and that's something I personally really appreciate. And don't overlook that internal memory too much, right? I mean, yes, it shoots 5 megapixels of 16 megapixels, but whatever state this camera is in, if you don't have a memory card in there for whatever reason, as long as it's got power, you're able to shoot an image. And let's say you want to print them later, you can. So you're not having to blow through sheets of film or spend money on film for shots you don't want. You're able to just pick this up, know you got internal memory to work with, and know when you can print them at your leisure when you want. With the internal memory, you're able to get 45 images, and that's at the 5 megapixels.
Okay, so this is pretty standard. I'm pretty sure with the Mini Evo without a micro SD card, you can also get 45 images, which I think makes sense because if I'm not mistaken, the Mini Evo has 4 megapixels for like its image resolution. So it makes sense that 5 megapixels would give you kind of the same number of images. So yeah, if nothing else, straight out of the box, this camera can hold 45 images, so you can start shooting right away.
Setting. Like I said, if you put in a micro SD card, you get 16 megapixels. So when you are looking at this camera with 45 shots to go with nothing in it, that's pretty nice. 5 megapixels. If you put in a memory card, you're getting 850 frames per gig. That is massive. And if you do want to go to 60 megapixels, meaning that it's not the crop, the wide angle setting is off on the front, you're looking at 280 frames per 1 gigabyte. That means that a 64 gig card, you're looking at like 17,000 images. I'm not kidding. You're pulling out your calculator right now.
All right, so you can hold a lot of images with a 64 gigabyte micro SD card. He's like 17,000 at 16 megapixels. So you can literally have one memory card for your Instax Wide EVO and like never have to get another one. I mean, unless you just shoot a whole lot of instant photography. With like the average user, a 64 gigabyte memory card will be plenty sufficient for like probably the life of the camera. So that's pretty good.
No, I'm right. Kind of wild, but just know that the internal memory, don't overlook it. No matter what state this camera is in, it's got a little bit of battery in it. You got 45 frames to fill on this thing. You don't got to worry about a memory card. And let's say you want to make those prints later on, you can at your leisure when you have power in the camera if it's dying or something like that. So just all those options are very cool to have, and just you're not flying through prints and spending money on film on shots you might not want. You're able to make multiple copies. You're able to make the copies you want when you want, and you're also able to get them to your phone and back to here and make prints again if you want. So like I said, think of this as like a printer with the camera built in. All right, that's gonna do it for me here with the Instax Wide EVO. If you can't tell, I'm super psyched on, especially after owning the mini version for so long. If you guys want to know any of the hardcore specs, hit up the link down below. You'll be able to read it for yourself. If you have any questions for me specifically about my use with it here, limited use, hit with a comment. I'll do my best to answer it as always. And don't forget to subscribe and the bell so you get notified when videos like this. Put out like a video or two every day, and a lot of it's fun toys like the Instax series. But like I said, that's going to do it for me. I'll see you down in those comments.
All right, so interesting that they don't mention, or at least mention, the price of this camera. So I was able to pre-order the camera on Best Buy, or from Best Buy, yesterday, and so the price that I ordered for was $349.99, so about $350. So I found that interesting, and they also don't talk about a release date. So according again to my pre-order, it's supposed to ship by February 4th. Let me go to, before I do that, he says in the description below you can find out more details. Okay, so I guess you can just go to the Adorama website and you can find information about this camera, like the specs. So like he didn't talk about the technical things like the dimensions or the weight or anything like that. So I want to go to, how long is this video? I don't want to make the video super long, but I am curious as to how, let me see if I can find. All right, sorry, I got cut off. I'm trying to screencastify like the free version. Apparently there's a 30-minute recording. There's a 30-minute limit for recording. So yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, let's look through the specifications and see if I can find like the weight and the dimensions. Okay, yeah, so it says it's 490 grams. How, I'm an American and I don't know these different dimensions. So let's see. Grams to pounds. All right, so it says the camera only weighs about a pound, which makes more sense because on the Best Buy website, it said the camera was like 2.05 pounds, which seems like a lot for what looks like a slimmer camera. So it looks like the camera is a little over a pound, which is nice. That's much lighter. It will make carrying around this camera much easier. Let's see the dimensions. Millimeters to inches. All right, so 138.7. So it's like 5.46 inches by 4.5 inches by 2.47 inches. So again, much smaller, not much, but smaller than what Best Buy says. I think Best Buy said it was like 7 by 6 by 4, which, sorry, I'm like looking at the screen, which would have made the camera like massive. So it definitely makes more sense that it's only like 5 by 4 inches as far as dimensions. So smaller and lighter than what Best Buy said, which is great. Like I said, carrying around a 2-pound camera gets heavy. I have the Lomo Insta wide glass, and the glass lens makes the camera much heavier. Well, not much heavier, but makes it heavier than like the wide 300. So it definitely feels heavier after a while. So it's nice that, you know, it is just like a pound. So that's great. All right, let's see what else is on here. About 2-3 hours charging time, which is kind of normal. About 100 prints, which is also pretty normal. Kind of the same with the Mini EVO. Okay, here it does say the lithium-ion battery internal type, which again, Best Buy was maybe not wrong, but the way I read it, battery pack to me sounds like a removable battery. But no, this is just a straight internal battery, just like the Mini EVO. Yep, I was right about the screen, 2.5 inches. Yeah, Bluetooth. And then the different exposures. Okay, so self timer, you have 2 settings, 2 seconds and 10 seconds, which I think is about the same for the Mini EVO. And then, okay, here it talks about the different flashes. So you got auto flash, force flash, which is when you make the flash regardless, and then suppress flash is when you stop it from flashing regardless. Yeah, I think the distance of the flash is the same from what I saw on Best Buy. This just gives you a breakdown of the different types of white balance. So there you have it. Your exposure compensation, plus or minus 2. So that's cool. The ISO and the shutter speed are correct, or they match what Best Buy said. Shooting distance, 10 centimeters. Okay, autofocus. So here it goes into a little more detail about the autofocus. Like I said in the video, they talk about how it has face recognition, which is nice. You can turn it on and off. That's cool. On the Best Buy website, it just said autofocus, so that's nice. Okay, nice. And then it talks about storage capacity. So when your wide angle switch is on, that's 280 images. So that's the 16 megapixels image. And then when it's off, you can get up to 850 images, or approximately 850 images. So that's the 5 megapixels. So yep, there we go. All right, let's jump to home screen right quick and see what we have here. Yep, just some better images or mock-ups of the camera. All right, they talk about the dial. So lens effect, film effect on this side. Yep, hybrid camera. Videos, yep. Film dial, film style is what it's called apparently. Your lens cap, which is nice. Image sensor, lens dial, wide angle switch, crank. And then yeah, you can just scroll through the images. Keep going. All right, so this is nice. You can kind of see what the wide angle mode looks like on and off. So here it's kind of cropped, and then here it's like fully wide. So that's kind of nice, very cool. Film styles, you can see examples. Okay, so here are the different film styles. You got the normal, cinematic, which you have the black border. Date stamp, interesting that the date stamp is considered a film style. So I'm curious as to what one of the either lens or film effects is, because on the Mini EVO, the date stamp is one of those. So I wonder, did they add a different effect? Collodion, hopefully that's the right process. Contact sheet, and I actually do like the contact sheet film for the Mini EVO. So while it's not the film border that gets the contact sheet look, I do like the fact that you can at least have kind of that option for the wide. And then film strip, very cool. So I do like these film styles, and I think this is Instax's way of giving you different types of film for the wide. Because normally, as far as I know with the wide, you only have like white, a white border, a black border, and then like monochrome film. So I like the fact that you can at least kind of get some version of different film types with the film styles. So now I want to scroll up and see, does it go through the, hold on, the different, maybe not. I was trying to see if it went through the different lens and film effects. Oh, okay, hold on, let's go back. Film, all right, let's show me, okay, we can see examples of film effects. All right, see that normal, vivid, warm, sky blue, light green, magenta, sepia, monochrome, amber, and summer. So that's cool. Here are your 10. I kind of wish they would have did the same image with each, just so you can see how it affected kind of that one image. But yeah, I like, you know, that you can see the different types of film effects. Okay, let's look at the lens effects. So normal, light leak, light prism, vignette, soft glow, double exposure, color shift, monochrome blur, color gradient, and beam flare. Okay, interesting. So one of my favorite effects, I can't remember if it's lens or film, on the Mini Evo is the mirror effect, and it looks like they've gotten rid of it. So I am going to miss that. I like it for like landscapes and buildings. It's nice, or at least it's fun for me to like do a mirror image of that, but they don't have that here. So I'm kind of sad to see that, but here you go. Here are your 10 lens effects. Oh, and you can see the degree control. All right, nice. So here you can see kind of the varying intensities of some of the effects. So like, I think you can see it better. Monochrome blur. I think you see better with like the light leak and the light prism. Like you can see the intensity of the two. Even probably the best one out of these is probably the light prism, because you can see it's like here from 0 to I guess 10. Sorry, my face is blocking. Can I move this? Oh yeah, 0 to 100. Okay, so yeah, here you can see kind of the different variations of degree control. And again, it's on the lens. Okay, here, sorry, they talk about the app. Sorry I'm talking so fast, just trying to get through this video. It's already probably pretty long, but here is the app. Oh, you can actually download it now, so I guess I'll go ahead and download the app. Yeah, like my 7th Instax app. But anyways, you can download the app if you know you're gonna get the camera. Okay, let's give me some of the details. So now there's a discovery feed, so you can post your photos to Instagram using the Instax Wide EVO. Interesting. Let's see what it says on how to post to Instagram. So you go to your print, find your photo, share icon. You can, do the background, whatever. Have to share icon, agree. Screen prints. Instructions on how to share. Oh, all right. So I will definitely be trying out this, like, share to Instagram. Excuse me. I've been talking too long. Hold on 1 second. So I will definitely be trying this posting to Instagram discovery feed for the app. So that's kind of nice to at least have something new for the app. Direct print, standard for, the Evo line. Remote shooting, we talked about that. Here you can clearly see that they are using tripod mount, and then he has his phone out to take the photo. You can see attachments. So the shoulder strap, this is what it looks like, kind of standard Instax shoulder strap. Here's the lens cap. Like I said, I like the fact that they do include a lens cap. Some different accessories. So here is the camera case, which is nice. I prefer the hard plastic cases for my camera. That way, especially since it has a lens cap, because that way I don't have to open and close the case. I can just take off the lens cap and use that, or I can just take off the lens cap, take a photo, put the lens cap back on, and not have to worry about the case. Curious as to what the lineup is. Oh, this is just in general? Okay, yeah, this is just general accessories. There is new film. What? Okay, I am excited about this because, like I said, wide usually comes in white frame, black frame, and then monochrome. But now there is a wide brush metallics. So I definitely will be stocking up on this film because I don't know how long it's gonna last or it's gonna sell out. But what? Hold on. Let's scroll down. Yeah. I'm trying to see photos. Why? Learn more. Is this it? Okay, so see, white, monochrome, black, and now brush metallics. So I will definitely be ordering me some brush metallic. I don't know when it's gonna go on sale. I don't know if it's going to the same day. I'm gonna go on Amazon or somewhere and try to find it and see if I can get it. But super excited, almost as excited about the new film stock as I am about the new camera. So yeah, I think is that it? Actually, let's go to Best Buy right quick and see if you can pre-order the camera now. All right, sorry, I keep getting cut off. But yeah, so it looks like the Instax Wide EVO is back on the Best Buy website. Let's click on it. And yeah, so here it is. Go away, honey. So here it is, as release date of February 4th. It says it ships by release date. Like I said, $349.99. Yeah. All right, so final thoughts about this. I'm still super excited about this camera, probably even more so now than when I initially pre-ordered it. Like I said, it is a big price difference, about $150 more than the Mini Evo. But now learning about some more of the features, it kind of makes a bit more sense about why it's more expensive. So that is nice. That's one thing I really like about like the Adorama breakdown. Yeah, I'm super excited about this camera. Hopefully I'll have it in my hands in a couple of weeks. Anything else? Let me know how you guys liked this type of video. I normally try to make them a bit more polished because I ramble a lot and I forget things, but I wanted to get this video out sooner rather than later. This one will probably have minimal editing. But yeah, just let me know what you guys think about this video in the comments below, and then just let me know what you think about the Wide EVO as well. After seeing the Adorama video, are you now maybe more inclined to get the camera, or is like the price point still kind of like, I don't think so. Yeah, so I'll keep you guys up to date about the Wide EVO, and I will try to post videos more consistently in the future. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys later. All right, bye.